seen things people wouldn't believe.
Guys, this is Brian at Whisper Status 74. Welcome to the community. Welcome to the channel. This is the first time you were seeing me. Please consider liking and subscribing. We are real tech for real people. Today's video is going to be a local Best Buy walkthrough. I started these videos last year. I go in the store so you don't have to. And they've actually become more valuable considering many of you aren't going in for obvious reasons, and some of you guys are actually in lockdown right now depending on where you're located. So my goal now is to walk in and show you the prices that they have at Best Buy, not really on the website, because obviously you guys can go on the website yourselves and check the prices there. So what I'll be doing is showing you what's in stock, what's on display, and what the prices are. Now for me, around now, since CES just ended, after the holidays, CES just finished, this is the time to start looking at 2020 models if you're looking to buy a display. For me, it's more valuable sometimes to go back a year. You may be able to buy a larger display at a lower price, as the prices coming out are going to be at their highest. So for me, Samsungs, which typically are very expensive at launch, tend to be a lot cheaper, between 15 to 20% cheaper now. So to me, that's when it's a good time to look back on Samsung, Sony, LG OLEDs, and even Sony OLEDs. So I think this is a good time to go in and check out last year's. Now, what makes last year dicey is the lack of HDMI 2.1 on many of our favorite brands. The 900H is going to go back on the recommended list, as Sony has released that they are adding those features in, so hopefully we'll trust them for that. We'll check the prices on the 900H, which is very affordable at its size. Samsung, for me, their LEDs will continue to diminish when you see mini LED and their 8K lineup next year. So to me, the Q90T, the Q80T are excellent choices, and even last year's Q90R and Q80R, if you can find those. But we'll be looking at the Q90T and the Q80T here, because I do feel that next year Samsung will be kind of phasing out that LED lineup, or it won't be as, other than their mini LED lineup, it won't be as quality based. So we'll be going in here now. This is the Best Buy, my local Best Buy here, if you can actually see it there. But I wanted to say hello before I went in. Again, these videos are fun for me to do. I'm safe, don't worry. But I'll be going in, and the one thing I will always say in these videos is the lack of TCL, Hisense, and Vizio in these stores, at least in the 4 stores that I go to in Connecticut, is always troubling, because next year I'll be hoping to see more mini LED from them in store. Quickly, I want to give a special shout out to FOMO on Tech, who had me on a live stream on his channel the other night. We talked for over an hour, had a great time. Thank you so much for having me on. So special shout out to FOMO, as there are a lot of new subscribers from that live stream. So welcome to the community, welcome to the channel. Thank you so much. Please go back to his channel and check out the live stream that we both did, and subscribe and like his channel if you haven't already. Let's go into the store. Love you guys. And I'll also be narrating this after, due to the volume of music and noise in the store. I hope all is well. I will see you guys in the store. All right, guys, we're going to start this one a little bit different. I want to show you the open box selection that you see here at Best Buy. Now, I would also put a big buyer's beware with any open box. My open boxes, the displays I had with dead pixels and all the issues, end up in this very section. And some of them were even on display without any disclaimer of what was wrong with them. So don't expect them to say dead pixels. It's going to be very vague. You might find a good one, but I would recommend not purchasing them. These ones at least are in their box. I would never purchase ones that you see on a dolly, which you're going to see right here. I would just never purchase anything that's been handled that way or sitting that close together. I mean, there's an OLED in the packaging here. So you can take a chance if you'd like. I typically wouldn't. They're mostly returns. You might find a good one, but make sure you cover yourself with an extended warranty and the manufacturer warranty if that's still something you can get. I would recommend not buying them. If you do, or if you've had good luck, please in the comments let me know. and let me know how you've made out with that experience. So we're going to start off here with the Sony 900H, which has been a very hot topic lately as we all talked about perhaps the lack of HDMI 2.1. That is back. Who knows if it was ever removed, but we did talk about it. It's still a display that you can recommend. It is very value-based. Hopefully, fingers crossed, it gets those features that were promised, even though it doesn't make a lot of sense to deliver them so late in the game, but still a great panel. Here is the Sony A9G, right below the Sony A8H. Now, Sony's lineup last year, again, was a little bit weird, with the 900H being the only one that actually offered HDMI 2.1 features other than the Z8H. So it put all these panels in a really weird spot. The A9G still relatively expensive. It has finally dropped in price. Look for it to drop even further when its true successor releases. So I would hold off until it drops further. The A8H was always a very good value. Also an excellent OLED. Both look fantastic. Master Series is always going to cost more, being calibrated out of the box and having the legacy that it carries. But I would hold off and wait until the successor arrives. And now here we are with Samsung. We mentioned the Q90T earlier, which is a little bit of an unappreciated display, as many of us felt it was a step back from the Q90R, but it perhaps has a more elegant algorithm than the Q90R, so it's also a great buy. A lot of Samsung displays release extremely expensive initially. The Q90T is probably one of my favorite LEDs last year. There's the 900TS, that is the 8K. Now, I will say for Samsung, their demos are always off the charts. I wish I could get my hands on them for our videos. They always look great in store, but the 8K was very expensive this year. There's the prices of both of them. 8K being a hard sell, being that it's so expensive. There's very little content, a more dense pixel density, hard for light to break through that, and upscaling being obviously much more important. Q90T looks fantastic. Now to the right here, you have the 950TS. This has the One Connect box behind it, and also the Q900R. I actually have this TV myself in the basement from Value Electronics. You've yet to really see it on the channel, but it's still relatively expensive. It was the only 8K panel from Samsung last year that was 55 inches, so it's carrying over to this year. This is the larger panel, so that's why you see the huge price. Again, a very good looking panel. But I think we've come away from spending that kind of money unless you're ultra wealthy. But Samsungs, again, do look amazing in store. I'm going to go around the back of it, where you can see the 950TS has the One Connect box. You can see it there. And on the other side, you're going to see the Q900R's One Connect box. The 900TS behind me does not have the One Connect box, from what I understand. Sorry, it's relatively dark. The One Connect boxes have gotten gigantic, by the way. I currently, at least for me, I'm most excited about Samsung's lineup next year with the mini LEDs, but I am looking for their LEDs to kind of take a step back and then be phased out. Here's the A9G again at 77 inches. The A9G at that size just has a certain wow factor, especially out of the box. Now here's the 950H. There is one in display on the other side that is 55 and I think 65 inches. Here's the price of the 75 inches. 950H, when I'm again tied with the Q90T for me for favorite, was crippled by not having the HDMI 2.1 for many of you, but if you're going to go back, the 950H is excellent. Here is the Z8H. This is going to be an interesting one to watch as well, as it was kind of a step back from the Z9G in some ways. Z9G was also $15,000, by the way, but having another successor with the Z9J, look for this one to also fall in price. Awesome display. Don't leave the remote for me, I'll tell you that, because every time we do, we go to check and make sure it's on vivid. Now, why is that important? Well, so many of you see such punchy, crazy colors. There's cinema there. What a difference. But when the cheaper models, not models this high end, when you see cheaper models out on the floor, when they're in vivid, it does give you this different perception of what they really look like at home. Meaning, get these home, sit in a dark room, not the Z8H obviously, but a lot of the cheaper ones, and they won't look as good. They'll be very noisy. There'll be all kinds of artifacting. So keep in mind, all of these are in store mode or they are in vivid. Now we're going to pan over to the LG GX, which is another one that's going to be in a weird position next year. This year it was the gallery. The real difference between the antenna and some speakers really was its wall mount, the kind of gapless. It wasn't quite flat like the LG wallpaper, but we'll see how it goes. I usually don't have my TVs against the wall that way. And here's an interesting one. Shane from Spare Change told me that this was here. Shout out to Shane. This Samsung like Galaxy TV, I do not understand the purpose of this, but here it is for those of you that would want that. I can see you connecting an alarm system to it. And it's funny how Samsung just keeps on with these same little remotes that look just like the ones I have for my Q9, the Q900R and my soundbar. And here it is, me turning it. It doesn't make a sound when it turns, which is actually pretty cool. Not sure what it's known or what it's really for, but I can imagine by the colors of it, the way it looks, it's not a good looking display. You can already see the haloing and blooming on it. So you're just buying it for the novelty. There's my finger in the way. But I guess if you have a need for that, maybe you work out in front of it, I have no idea. But we're going to pan over to the QLED line here now, which again is going to be the line to look out for. I think for if you want to go back and find quality displays, you're going to be seeing the Q90 here, the Q80, and also the Q800. The Q90 is going to be the one that I think you should reach back for, as it has those gaming features and expect it to really drop in price. There's the Q800 and the Q80. Q800 is on the bottom. The Q80 is on the top. You'll see the Q80 again in a moment. There's the Q800T. And again, you're paying a lot for 8K with very little content. And it's going to be interesting to see if these displays are in a weird spot for next year with their mini LED lineup. I'd be hard-pressed to buy that now. And some of these don't have the prices on them. Here's the Q60 that's off. I threw the prices up there for you guys. But I'd recommend if you're going to, go with the QLED line, I would stay with the Q80 and Q90. Now, what I thought was really nice looking was this Q80 49-inch. Had not seen the 49-inch in person, and the pixel density and as a monitor, it is absolutely gorgeous. Samsung just has that saturation and that pop, and of course the price wasn't here on this one, but you will see it as I go around to the other side, where you'll see another Q80. But I was really impressed with that. As a monitor, they must be absolutely amazing. And here's the Q80 on the other side, and there's the 49-inch price right there. I'm going to pan also to the Q70 really quickly. It's amazing how the Q7FN leads better than the last 70s. Samsung always seems to go back a year and knock their stuff down. Do not trust them for that reason when it comes to that. So it seems like every year they tend to diminish, and I expect that to happen again next year. Here's another 900H. For some reason, 900H just looks so much better at a larger size. There's also the 950H and the Sony A8H OLED here as well. I don't know why they've gotten to these magnetic move-around prices. Obviously it's for ease of use, but again, in store with them all on Vivid, it is amazing how close they all look. The A8H, the 950H, and the 900H. Put them in a dark room and you can see the difference between them. I'll touch on Vizio quickly. I'm very disappointed with their lack of real estate in these stores. The last video I did had the OLED there, which I think is also a great choice. It just needs to be a little bit cheaper. But to not see them represented here, I think I'm going to grab the remote here and see if this is on Vivid as well. It's an interesting kangaroo punching bag. Looks good. I'm probably reaching for the remote here. I think I do. Yep, there we go. Yep, there it is. Vivid. So again, keep that in mind when some really lower brands, especially in the Costco's and the BJ's and those places, make you think things look phenomenal. I'm not saying anything's wrong with the 900H, but just keep in mind. Now here you're seeing the nano cell. Quickly you can see the difference in black level from the nano cell to the CX, which is on in the middle. We're going to go over the prices here. Nano, I have a hard time getting behind anything but their highest end, which would be the 90 or the 8K one, which actually looks very good for an IPS. But I really struggle with the IPS panels and the grayish blacks. The viewing angles are awesome. Again, on Vivid, they all look great with these demos. I wish I had this LG demo. The CX is in the middle at 77 inches. We know how good the CX is. We know some of its troubles. We also know how fully spec'd it is and actually how reasonable in price it is, kind of being almost $1,000 away from the A9G at the same size. I don't expect next year's LGs to look much different. Here's the BX. I'll put the price of the BX somewhere on the screen. Should come up in a moment. And the CX. The CX, they didn't have the price for it. I'm sorry, the BX didn't have the price, so I'll put that up in a second. There's the BX price there, which the BX is actually to the left. The BX also, it's an interesting option. It'll be replaced by the A series. They need to be much cheaper. You know, here's the CX pricing. But if you're going to have the BX and the AX, I mean, I've seen them only a few $100s apart. They need to be substantially cheaper. And we're going to step back and actually see how good they all look with this. These are my favorite LG demos. You've seen them on the channel. Check out LG Global. They have awesome demos. Be nice if they were timed up. But we're also going to pan around the store here. I want to show you, it is very quiet in the store. There's almost nobody here. They don't love me in here filming, by the way. I'm not very inconspicuous either. So, but there's very little. Again, I would love to see more variety in terms of TCL, Hisense, and the others, showing you how bright the room is in Magnolia. And also, I'll show you some more the Blu-rays are. They very sparse as far as the amount of stock. And they've added a lot more things that you find in, you know, knickknacks and things like that. But I hope you guys enjoyed this walk through the store. I go in so you don't have to. Again, thank you to everybody that is new to the channel, and those of you that are part of the channel, love you guys. Stay safe, and I will see you guys in the comments. I've gotten so behind in the comments, but they mean the world to me. I will definitely get back to you. If I've missed you in a previous video, please add your comments here. All right, guys, take care.